Hello, and welcome to ARM Studios. My name is Rita Johnson-Greene, and I'm the Chief Operating Officer at the Alliance for Regenerative Medicine. And I have the pleasure of speaking with Scott Broughton today, who is the Chief Commercial Officer at Ascend. Thank you for speaking with me today, Scott.
Thank you for having me, Rita.
Wonderful. So
Appreciate it.
first, we appreciate you being a sponsor of Mesa, so let me start there. But I do have a few questions that I'd love to chat with you about, and the first one being that Ascend just launched in 2023. And so could you just tell us a bit about the history of the company and a bit about a background about the launch?
Sure, be happy to. So Ascend is a combination of acquisitions. So it's kind of an inorganic growth process of an investor group that came from Freeline Therapeutics, which is our German footprint in Munich, and where we have about 60 experts there who are very good at everything from gene sequencing all the way through analytics and scaling AAV, so serotypes 1 through 9. And this team has been working since 1991, so very experienced team. And then the second acquisition was the Beacon Therapeutics site, which is in Alachua, Florida. So kind of in the birthplace of AAV in the north central part of Florida. And that site is our GMP manufacturing site, which was acquired just within a year. So those two together really kind of close the ends of development and early scale for innovators all the way through to commercial supply. And so the facility in Florida is, thanks to the client we have there, is really the footprint for commercial manufacturing, and they'll be commercial ready by later the next year.
Wow.
So
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
So you mentioned AAV, right?
Yes.
And some have kind of questioned the viability of AAV as a delivery mechanism for the future. And so, what inspires you about it? Why are you in the AAV space?
Yeah. So my background is in the cell therapy space.
Okay.
So 15 years. So this is fairly new for me, but there are some similarities and then a few differences. So some of the similarities are how long it takes to develop a product, and while that's happening, how much a company will spend burning cash while that's being done. So it's one of the major pain points in the sector. So that's a similarity. The difference is, of course, that as opposed to this ultra bespoke, many of the cell therapies are very bespoke. Gene therapy is more that the CDMOs or the innovators have a platform. We build on that platform, qualify it, help them work on assays and things to make sure that it's a robust technology. And then the products are instead of like an autologous cell therapy product, they're more like the allo model, where you're really, so the risk in terms of logistical supply to other parts of the world are less. They're still expensive though. Developing a product can cost several $1 million, and then the clinical manufacturing can cost several $1 million as well. So what we're doing as a company, and I think what the rest of the industry is also looking at, is trying to get to the important aspects of that product as early as possible. You've probably heard this before. And not just de-risk it, but look at the sequence of the gene, look at the potency of the product, the quality of it. So the German team we have in Munich, for example, is really experienced at super high titer and really an efficient production model for the product. And then what we do is we bring that product through a scaling system that is one manufacturing vendor that we have that can take it from 1 liter all the way up to 500 liters in a platform that's very similar. So in terms of comparability, there's very little that needs to be done from one to the next other than some testing. And it's one of the things that shortens the timeline. So I can't tell you exactly what an example might be of how much we can take out of the cost of it, but I know that by shortening timelines, you can certainly save the company a lot of their own cash burn while that's happening, so they can get to the clinic faster.
No, I mean, that's wonderful. And I mean, you talked a bit about one, how expensive it is to, manufacture and develop cell and gene therapies. And you also talked a bit about, kind of de-risking and that scalability, over just what are your thoughts about, the future with regard to, maybe making product less expensive over the next 5-10 years, and not specifically yours, but just holistically the industry and kind of industrializing the manufacturing process?
It's a great question. So I think the industry in general is all moving the same direction.
Agree.
And most of the companies are working on, like I said earlier, getting the product as early as possible, developing the assays, developing the technology so that it's more automated, especially later on. So there are less variables there for errors, sterility, and just stops. So having to go, and then a lot of that early development, if it's done right, there's no really bench to bedside and back to the bench again. They can use that platform, know it's robust, and to be able to take it through to maybe next pipeline products. So I think it's automation. I think it's doing your due diligence early in the game. And then I think there are a lot of partnerships in the industry between vendors and even other CDMOs and other companies to make things faster and better and cheaper. So it's coming. I always kind of kick my associates under the table and say, we can do this faster. We can also really say, we don't need this at that phase. And our operations team is really the ones that do this, but the BD guys are always the ones saying, can we do this and not do these things because they really don't need this now? So it's also recognizing what you don't need now. It's early enough phase, but so those are some strategies that we're taking. So
that's great. Those are some great points, right? Prioritization, as well as just constantly innovating and asking yourself, how can we do this faster, less expensive, and just in a more robust way. So that's wonderful. I have one last question for you. If you could pick one or two things that you're excited about for 2025 for Ascend, what would they be?
So, finalizing commercialization for one of our clients, because it's a huge stamp of approval for a facility. And I think also, getting back to your earlier question, being able to go to the team that is doing all this work and say, we did this for less than we thought we could. And so I think that's important to not only just reward people, but also have a stake in the ground that says, we've done something for one of our therapeutic sponsors that is definitely less cost. We did it faster, and we were able to collaborate. And some of the ways that we do that is just like saying, look, we won't give away services, but we're going to say, look, we know you have a stake in this, and so do we. So let's try and narrow down some costs and come together and really collaborate on that. So I think it's important to be super collaborative, and that's what we're doing right now with some of our clients, and it's really fun, actually.
That's wonderful.
So,
and I mean, ultimately, that collaboration benefits patients.
It does.
So,
and I think the entire industry has been talking about automation, delivering patient products for years, and I think it's got to move faster. So everybody's incentivized, I think. So
wonderful. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Scott.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure speaking with you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.